In the rich history of women's tennis, Grand Slam glory has always been the ultimate benchmark. Margaret Court, Serena Williams, Steffi Graf, Martina Navratilova. The great champions are remembered first for their major triumphs. But there exists another category of legends. Talented, resilient, captivating players who dazzled crowds, lifted trophies, earned respect, but never managed to climb that final peak. Today, we celebrate those forgotten queens of the court, the best WTA legends who never won a single Grand Slam. Their stories are tales of brilliance and heartbreak, of near misses and eternal what-ifs. Let's count them down. Number 8. Rosie Casals, 1968–91. Rosie Casals, with a career-high ranking of number 55, was a pioneer, a fiery 5'2" daughter of Salvadoran immigrants who learned her craft on the public courts of San Francisco. Known as Rosebud, she was as fearless as she was inventive, a serve and volleyer who could produce magic from anywhere on the court. Casals reached 2 U.S. Open finals in 1970 and 1971, but each time the trophy slipped away, overshadowed by the titans of her era. Margaret Court and Billie Jean King. She also reached 4 Wimbledon semifinals and a semifinal at the Australian Open, proof that she could adapt across surfaces. Yet her greatest battles were often decided not by lack of courage, but by inches, a lob over her head, a passing shot she couldn't quite reach. At just 5'2", her height was both her limitation and her inspiration. Still, Casals was a trailblazer. With 112 doubles titles, second only to Navratilova, she redefined what a doubles star could be. And though the singles slam trophy escaped her, she remains immortal in the Hall of Fame. Number 7. Zina Garrison, 1982–97. The pride of Houston's public courts, Zina Garrison, with a career-high ranking of number 4, carried the expectations of being hailed the next Althea Gibson. Her greatest stage was Wimbledon in 1990, where she stunned Monica Seles and then toppled the mighty Steffi Graf in back-to-back thrillers. Suddenly, she was one match away from immortality. But in the final, facing Martina Navratilova, the dream dissolved. Exhausted, she was swept aside in straight sets. Garrison reached 4 other Slam semifinals, claimed Olympic singles bronze and doubles gold, and became one of the great grass court players of her era. Her quick movement, chip-and-charge tactics, and clever volleying were masterful. Yet inconsistency on serve and pressure on her forehand often betrayed her in key moments. Despite the missed slam, Zina Garrison's Wimbledon run remains one of the most iconic underdog stories in women's tennis history. Number 6. Mary Jo Fernandez, 1986–2000. With a career-high ranking of number 4 and a prodigy from Miami, Mary Jo Fernandez carried the burden of expectation from the age of 14. Calm, composed, with rock-steady ground strokes, she was seen as the next Chris Evert. She reached the Australian Open finals in 1990 and 1992, only to be denied both times by Steffi Graf. In 1993, at Roland Garros, she pulled off a comeback for the ages, rallying from 1-6, 1-5 down against Gabriela Sabatini to reach the final. But again, it was Graf waiting for her. And again, Graf closed the door. 3 Slam finals. 3 times the trophy slipped away. Fernandez lacked the raw firepower of her rivals, and her serve was often a weakness. But her return game, defensive skills, and composure made her one of the toughest competitors of the 1990s. Add to that 2 Olympic doubles golds, and Fernandez carved out a career of consistency and class. She may not have had her slam moment, but she was a mainstay in tennis royalty. Number 5. Jelena Suková, 1983 to 98. Standing 6 feet 2, Jelena Suková seemed built for domination. With a career-high ranking of number 4 and a daughter of a Wimbledon finalist and member of a famous Czech tennis family, she had the pedigree and the weapons. A booming serve, heavy ground strokes, and a crisp volley that made her equally feared in doubles. But in singles, 4 Grand Slam finals all slipped through her grasp. 2 at the Australian Open, 2 at the US Open. In 1984, she stunned the tennis world by ending Martina Navratilova's 69-match winning streak in the Australian semi-finals, only to lose the final to Chris Evert. In 1993, nearly a decade later, she was again within reach at the US Open, but faltered once more. Her record, 9 titles in 29 finals, showed both her brilliance and inconsistency. Yet when she was hot, she was unstoppable, one of the very few to defeat both Evert and Navratilova in the same tournament. Suková was proof that sometimes the slam crown is less about ability and more about destiny. Number 4. Dinara Safina, 2000 to 11. The sister of Marat Safin, Dinara Safina rose to world number 1 in 2009 with raw, bruising power. At nearly 6 feet tall, she blasted forehands and serves that could overwhelm anyone. She made 3 slam finals in just 2 years: Roland Garros in 2008 and 2009, and the Australian Open in 2009. But nerves betrayed her. Against Ana Ivanović at Roland Garros 2008, she froze under pressure. A year later, against Svetlana Kuznetsova, she lost again in straight sets. In Melbourne, Serena Williams simply overpowered her in a one-sided final. Safina had the game to win, but the mental strain of being labeled Marat's little sister and the crushing weight of expectations were too heavy. A chronic back injury ended her career at just 25. For 2 dazzling years, she was a dominant force, but destiny denied her the slam her talent deserved. Number 3. Jelena Janković, 2000 to 17. Few players embodied flair and charisma like Jelena Janković. The Serbian star climbed to world number 1 in 2008, amassing over 600 career wins and titles on every surface. She reached the US Open final that same year, only to run into Serena Williams. Janković had her chances. At the 2006 US Open, she led Justine Henin 6-4, 4-2, with a point for 5-2. But a dispute with the umpire derailed her, and the match slipped away. At Wimbledon and Roland Garros, she produced 6 more semi-finals, but the breakthrough never came. Her silky backhand down the line was one of the game's most lethal weapons, her anticipation and movement breathtaking. But her serve was inconsistent, and her tendency to lose focus at key moments cost her dearly. Janković knew it herself, once laughing, I know, but I never won a Grand Slam." A candid acknowledgement of a glorious career missing its crowning jewel. Number 2. Agnieszka Radwańska, 2005-18. Agnieszka Radwańska, the Polish magician of the court, dazzled fans from 2005 until her retirement in 2018. Rising to a career high of world number 2, she reached the Wimbledon final in 2012 and was twice a semi-finalist at the Australian Open. Known as the Professor of Tennis, Radwanska earned over 590 career wins and lifted 20 titles, including the prestigious WTA Finals in 2015. Her game was built not on raw power, but on artistry. With unmatched anticipation, crafty shot-making, and her famous squat shot, she could outthink and outmaneuver opponents in ways few players ever could. She was a master of tactics, a true strategist who turned rallies into chess matches. But despite her brilliance, Radwanska never captured a Grand Slam crown. Her serve lacked the firepower needed against the game's biggest hitters, and ultimately, that gap left her just short of the sport's greatest prize. Still, she remains one of the finest players never to lift a slam. A genius whose touch, flair, and court intelligence made her unforgettable in the history of women's tennis. Number 1. Jelena Janković, 1998 to 2010. Perhaps no player better symbolizes the best never to win debate than Jelena Janković. Ranked as high as world number 3, she reached 2 slam finals in 2004, at Roland Garros and the US Open. In Paris, her serve collapsed, double faulting 10 times as Anastasia Miskina claimed the title. In New York, she lost again to compatriot Svetlana Kuznetsova. Janković's serve was her Achilles' heel, but everything else was world-class. Her fitness was unmatched, her running forehand devastating, her backhand precise, her grit undeniable. Between 2008 and 2010, she reached 5 more slam semifinals, consistently knocking on the door. But her greatest triumph came at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, where she beat Dinara Safina for the gold medal. In Russia, Olympic gold is considered equal to, if not greater than, a slam. Yet for the rest of the world, the absence of a major title overshadows her brilliance. As Brad Gilbert once said, "How do you argue with that? An Olympic gold, 2 slam finals, countless semifinals? It's amazing how good she was, even with that awful serve." Janković's story is the ultimate case of a legend, defined not by what she won, but by what she almost won. From Rosie Casals to Jelena Janković, these women carved legacies without Grand Slam glory. They fought giants, battled nerves, endured eras of dominance, and came agonizingly close. Their stories remind us that greatness in tennis is not defined by trophies alone, but by artistry, fight, and the inspiration they left behind. Who, in your opinion, was the greatest WTA legend never to lift a Grand Slam trophy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Anything Trend for more deep dives into the world of sport. Because sometimes, the greatest stories are about the battles that were never won.